So I think what's interesting about fantasy football playoffs is you can game plan for your team. You can be active on the waiver. You can have a good draft. You can get a little bit of luck, a little bit of skill, a little bit of the cocktails been mixed, right? But then you come down to it late season, people get injured, and you end up with some not ideal matchups. And so, like we mentioned with Daniel here, with Brock Purdy playing Washington at home, uh, Mr. Irrelevant, who's done great so far last 3 games, but against a better defense than he's played before. And Daniel has him as his QB1 because he's had Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson has not played as hot as he was expected to. So you have to adjust as a fantasy manager. And so that's one matchup that I'm not a big a fan of. The other one, and see, I have got Kittle in another league of mine. So, yeah, I'm a little concerned with Brock Purdy being chased by Chase Young, no pun intended, all over
Yeah.
the field. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he has been. That's interesting. It's interesting that you like it's really weird because the Chiefs, again, one of these weird teams where number one scoring offense. You look at any kind of offensive metrics in the NFL right now. You have 10 of them. Chiefs are probably number one to 8 of them, right? Second, the other two, probably, right? And it's weird because when it comes to both receivers and running backs, right? The Chiefs are they distribute all their stuff to these players, right? There's no, I mean, in the past it was Tyreek and Kelsey, of course, and we don't have to rehash all this again. But like, if you're the Chiefs, like there's three like go-to positions. There's Butker, there's Mahomes, there's Kelsey, right? Juju, MVS, McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's now injured. All these players, it was like one week they get five, another week they get 20, right? And so McKinnon's been hot, and so you wonder with it being Seattle, do they jump on Seattle super fast? A couple of Mahomes rushing touchdowns, a pass to MVS, Juju makes a score, and then McKinnon's no longer this third down back slash passing back that's needed, and they just run the ball through Pacheco all day. So you have to kind of wonder if they get behind or Seattle, scores the first touchdown. I think that adds 10 points to McKinnon's value throughout the game.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't seem to use McKinnon as, I don't know, they use McKinnon like Pollard,
Yeah.
honestly.
Or like James White is what I think about, right?
Yeah, James
He's like a
White. Yeah,
James
yeah.
White character. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I agree. If Seattle scores first and if Kansas City has to play from behind and catch up,
Yep.
McKinnon is going off, and if Casey goes up by 14, McKinnon's probably not going to see the ball much. They
Yep.
won't need him. I mean, unless they play catch up, and then I think that's just the role he plays in that offense. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Yeah, he did.
yeah, big time. Right.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think you do start both just because the offense is so potent that any playmaker that's a part of it is it's worth it because McKinnon's floor is 5 to 7 points maybe on a couple of dink and dunk passes, but his ceiling could be 30, 40. I mean, it just depends upon the last few
Right.
games. I mean, he's gotten like what, 5 touchdowns in 2 games or something like that, or maybe I need to look again, but
Well, on the Chiefs defense has been pretty atrocious lately.
yeah, yeah, it has
So,
been.
and Seattle going off a lot on games. It's got everything to be a shootout tomorrow. So,
Yep. Oh man. Mm, yep.
right.
No, no.
Right.
Yeah.
It,
Okay. Mm, yeah,
oh
yeah.
man, you don't want to talk. You don't want to talk about that, Jeff. This right.
I've given you
Well,
guys both
you
players.
started the week off with a solid 14.2 from ETN. Um,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
I just want to say that
Um,
I feel like I contributed some because I both have given you running backs for your team. I'm just saying. Both have given you starting running backs that I feel like I've contributed something to your playoff
you
success.
did, man. You
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
You did. I'm gonna mail you some stickers.
Yeah, you need to.
That was really cool of you, man.
And you send me a Josh
Jacob,
Jacobs jersey if you win the championship. That's what needs to happen.
I just might do that.
He's from Tulsa, so that's pretty cool.
You know, the one guy on my team I'm worried about. Well, there's a couple guys I'm worried about, but Terry McLaurin going against San Francisco, he could lay a big old egg.
Yep.
Um, that's a nasty defense, and Washington's quarterback situation is it's just it is what it is. McLaurin's the guy, but against that defense, that could be a long day for him.
Yep.
I'm looking for Diggs to break out of his no touchdowns for 2 weeks, and hopefully hit the end zone. He really has been in a slump the last 2 weeks, so I'm hoping he breaks out of that.
Yeah.
But
So I think you guys, as a third party, almost all of your players on both teams have plus matchups. It's kind of crazy.
yeah, yeah,
Honestly, like there's not there's like a handful. So I'm looking here. So you've got oh man. So honestly, like Marquise, like people I'm down on right now would be Marquise Brown with Jeff. That's not a great matchup with the third string quarterback, in my opinion. Um, like I think, yeah, that's kind of on Jeff's team, like the one person I'm not a big fan of. Like again, Washington or for Terry McLaurin for Jake's team is another person, but everyone else, like honestly, look at the matchups. Like I would be happy that my teams are
Right.
playing these matchups. So I feel like you guys could end up with some like 165 to 175 type of game here because it's
We could. Yeah.
your players are primed to score a lot because these are all good matchups. Like Herbert at Indy at the Colts, I love that. I love Derek Carr at Pittsburgh. Tom Brady playing Arizona with a third string quarterback. I like that. Um, and I like Jared Goff playing at Carolina. It's gonna, I think, that could be a little bit of a like a slugfest, but I think it's either gonna be, I think Carolina is gonna score some weird defensive touchdowns and crap, and then Detroit's playing from behind and having to score some points.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they got a playoff shot. Mm-hmm.
I've been really not. I've been really fortunate with David Montgomery. He's been doing really well the
Yeah.
last half
Yeah.
of the season.
Yeah.
Um,
And I do like that matchup with the Bills because both Fields and Montgomery, I think, have good matchups with it being a crappy weather game versus the
right. Right.
receivers. So I think that
Yeah.
those are both good matchups.
You know,
Oh,
someone I'm not really hot on is he has an amazing matchup, like probably the best matchup, but I still don't like it. Is DJ Moore?
mm,
You just never know what's gonna if he's gonna lay. Well, if you look last week, he gave me 18. The week before that, he gave me point 0.6.
yeah,
The week, and then the week before that on was a bye. The one before that was 20. The one before that was 5.
yeah,
I mean, it's just so unpredictable.
yeah,
Even with good matchups, this is just a crapshoot with DJ Moore. I'm, hopefully he puts out. Yeah,
yeah. He should have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. You like that?
right. Well, Matt Ryan got benched, didn't he? I thought I read that for this week.
Yeah. He's yeah. They're
And
playing
they're
the Colts.
also the Colts are also eliminated from the playoffs, right?
Uh, I think
It,
so.
true, true. Well, I guess my point is a lot of times when a team is eliminated from the playoffs, they open things up, and it can actually be beneficial in fantasy.
Could be.
Um, so and Michael Pittman, Michael Pittman got 14 targets last week. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Double
Yeah.
double digit targets is incredible.
Yeah. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's a good question, Jeff. On your bench, you have Dallas Goddard. Obviously, you have the GOAT, Travis Kelsey, which you would never bench ever, ever. Even on a bye week,
Ever.
he might score on his bye week, right? So, but with Dallas Goddard, if let's say hypothetically you had a Cole Komet, you had a Juwan Johnson, right? You had something like that. How do you feel about Goddard with Minshew coming, Minshew him coming off of IR, Goddard coming off of IR, playing Dallas? Like, would you play him? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would play Goddard over like Bellinger from the Giants. I would play him over even even Juwan Johnson from the New Orleans Saints. I got him. I'm starting him this week. He's been doing pretty good. I'd probably start. I think Goddard has a better floor,
Yeah.
but
Cool.
I'm definitely. Um, I, he's just been such a he's
I like
he's
those
been a
points.
he, he's been a solid touchdown machine. Um, he's been putting up double-digit fantasy points in most of his games, at least the second half of the season. Almost every game, second half of the season. Um, against Cleveland, it's again that's another one of those. My other option is Bellinger against Minnesota, which he just he just hasn't been getting the looks as much. So, or he or
Mm-hmm.
he hasn't been taking advantage of it.
Also, what I like is I do like you starting Johnson, Jake, because Olave is out this week. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
another threat that Olave, sorry, yes, Chris Olave.
right. And they're
So
not exactly deep on that offense.
yes, and so my thought is kind of what Jeff mentioned about tight ends. He's not going to be running 50-yard seam routes. He's going to be running shorter stuff with the cold weather. If they throw, it's going to be a 10, 15-yard out if they do anything. I think
Right.
that favors Johnson. And then I don't like your other tight ends. Like I'm not a Austin Hooper with Tennessee. Like that was a disaster last week, right?
Yeah.
And then Bellinger with New York. Like I think I like Johnson being. I like Johnson honestly with that matchup. I think it's going to be like of those three. I'd probably do the same thing. I'd probably start Johnson.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Oh gosh, yes, I do. Dude, I have so many good tight ends. Like I really should have traded some because I on my team I've got Fryermuth, I've got Kittle, and I've got Taysom Hill. And yeah, I'm just like I've got some yeah. 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 Mhm. Oh yeah, he's yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it's good. So yeah, I think with this matchup though, as a third party, I think it's gonna be a good matchup. I had mentioned I think to Jeff before we started recording that I think this is gonna be the most comparable matchup. I feel like with the Daniel Randy matchup, if Daniel's quarterbacks don't do well, Randy's gonna smoke them. I think.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so too.
I think this you guys have a lot of plus matchups in this, so it's not like a oh half my team is like playing some crappy weather game. Like all your matchups are plus except for like two or three total between both
Right.
your players. So
Right.
it's gonna be a high scoring. If I had to guess, it'd be like some 175 to 165, like I mentioned, like some really high scoring
Yeah.
game.
Well,
Yeah, it'll be good. And also, what's great about it is, one of you guys will move on, and you guys haven't been to the championship game in a while, which will be good. Hopefully,
yeah,
Jake's
true.
Jake's first, and what Jeff's second, right?
That's right. That's what's going to end up happening. Hey Jeff,
Yeah.
what's your score prediction?
Oh, he's got to vote for his team. Oh no, actually, that's bad karma. It's bad karma if you put a score prediction for your team, right? You gotta say,
Hey, do it for
oh,
the
Jake's gonna
podcast. Come
smoke
on.
me.
Yeah, do it for the
Yeah,
fans.
that's for the fans.
I'll
Yeah,
I'll do it too. I'll do
for
it
the
with you. That way
subscribers.
it'll cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Right. But which one's 160 and which one's 165? All right. All right. Well, I'm not scared. I'm gonna score 172 on you,
You score 172. I, I
and
I
you're
would
gonna.
probably like just looking at it on paper. I think the Dalvin Cook Jacobs Diggs combo is lethal on Jake's team. Yeah, and I think like Jeff, you have good players, but my concern is like Kelsey has to score 30 points for you to win. I think like you have a lot of like, oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, for
Well, and
sure.
also the differential between the tight end positions, like Johnson might score 5 points, and Jake's like not happy, but not upset about that. If Kelsey scores 10 points, you're kind of mad. You're like, what happened? Right? Like, what happened
Right.
to my
Right.
guy? You know?
Well, Kelsey hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 games, so he's going
Yeah.
off for like 4 of them.
Well, and then he hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 games, and yet like, dude is still putting up 15 points. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
He scored 20 points, 10 for 10. 10,
Right.
10 receptions, 10 targets, 105 yards for a tight end. Insane.
That's
Insane.
insane. That's insane. Wow.
Yeah. If yeah. No.
No, neither one of them has.
Yeah, you're not starting
Right,
rookies and
right.
backups.
For sure, it could get way worse than that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Crap the bed. Yeah.
I don't think he's laying an egg against Indy. That's what I'm worried about. I think he's going to go off. Um, I right.
Yeah. I mean,
I
they
also
they
think
they held Mahomes in check.
right. I also think C.D. Lamb is going to go do decent for you. I know it's against Philly. I think he's going to have a second half game, and it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
They do. I
Yeah,
think it's gonna be it's gonna be bad. But yeah, so as
yeah.
a third party,
I heard I heard they got Skip Bayless coming to their locker room to pump him up or something.
yeah. So I think as like a third as a third party, that was good. That was good, Jake. I like Skip Bayless pumping him up. Oh man, I think as a third party, I think I would give Jake a slight advantage just on paper. But again, it's fantasy football any given Sunday. Um,
Oh,
him
I know.
having my Josh Jacobs, just saying, for Kyler Murray, that has now I traded Daniel for, you know, 80 cents on the dollar, who's now injured, so it worked out okay, I guess, for me. But yes, that was at the time I was kicking myself. It did, except
It
for
did.
Daniel, so it worked out great. But
So
yes,
we're all rooting for Randy, right? Is that
yeah,
that's right, right?
yeah, we're all rooting for Randy.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, poor Daniel got screwed on that trade. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Good. Mhm.
Yeah, they're pretty bad, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. What about Donovan's Peoples Jones? Because so your thought is I go ahead. Mm, mhm. I like her. Okay. Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
I think I would if it was me, I would probably do the Richie James just because it's Trace McSorley. If it was Colt McCoy, I probably would keep him in, but it's really hard to know. Um, just because it's a third string quarterback, and we've seen like Purdy who has it would make sense, right? Like back at quarterback, third string, instead of the entire length of the field, right? Where like you have these slant, you have a lot of slant go route receivers that are getting the ball. With a third string guy, it becomes like this, right? So all of a sudden you have running backs and you have tight ends, you have short stuff that are going to get the ball. It's what's happened with Purdy, right? All of his stuff has gone to McCaffrey and Kittle. That's it, right? There's been no Ayuk. Debo Samuel's been injured. There's been no other receivers pretty much from a fantasy perspective that's been in play. So I think Marquise Brown, I don't know. I mean, it's risky. You start him for hopefully he gets a 15-yard pass and turns into like a 50-yard gain kind of thing, but you're not hoping that he's getting to catch a 60-yard bomb. So that's just me
Yeah,
though. I mean, I'm also out of the playoffs, so what do I know, right? It's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and
yeah.
I
I just
came on. I almost gave Jake a run for his money, and if I So I'll talk about things I messed up in this league after in another segment or something later. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, I'll tell you what, man. There's no way I should be in the playoffs right now. There's no way. I have like I was the first whole entire half of the season. I was pretty much battling Mike and Evan for last place, pretty much. So,
Yep.
and looking at your team, Grant, let me pull this up real quick. Dude, you got a nasty team.
I know I did, but unfortunately it's managed by me. So I'm like the quintessential like Washington Reds or can't say Redskins now. I'm sorry, Commanders, Washington Commanders, or classic the Oakland Athletics, right? Where I
Yeah,
just the
yeah,
management has just done the team in, right? But
yeah.
yeah,
Like
no,
you're stacked. You're
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
stacked. And
The,
yeah,
the Zay
I don't
Jones
know.
play was not good this week, but oh well, that's a whole other
Well,
discussion.
that's not that
Yeah,
I'd have played that. I'd have played Zay Jones all day.
yeah,
But
but yeah, it's good. I think it's a good matchup, and it should be exciting to watch the games tomorrow and Sunday and see who comes out on top.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Um, I am probably gonna watch most of the games. We're kind of getting ready for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and so we've got church service like 5:30. So I think I'm gonna be watching. I'll watch the early game and then probably the second game and then you know a good chunk of the last evening time game because we'll be on getting things ready for Christmas and stuff like that. So definitely
Yeah,
watching the Chiefs game in the morning and then kind of seeing what games are good and just kind of feel the vibe tomorrow.
yeah, I'll definitely be watching the Chiefs game. Keep an eye. I'll be keeping an eye on the Bills game. They play at the same time, but I'm not really interested in watching them play the Bears. Um,
Yeah, no.
uh, I I'm definitely watching the Chiefs though. And then at 3:30, I think the Eagles Cowboys is playing tomorrow. So
Yeah,
that's a high profile game. I'd love to watch that.
yeah. That's what
Um,
I'm probably gonna do is I'll probably watch the Chiefs game then Eagles Cowboys I think for sure, and
right.
then the evening game is it Tampa Bay or
It's
that's Sunday's game?
Raiders Steelers.
It's Raiders Steelers. Okay.
Yeah. I I really have no interest in watching that game except I got Carr and Jacobs going, so
Yeah.
I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna have to watch half of it.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
right.
Yes, it is. Mhm. Yeah. I agree. Mm.
Right. Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, it's amazing what getting rid of a bad coach does, right?
Yeah. No
Um,
kidding.
yeah, some dude goes from grinding on co-eds to fired. Now he looks amazing. Like I think the Jags look great. Like Jags look good. Like Trevor Lawrence looks comfortable. I mean, they've had some good wins. Yeah, I mean they look solid and
Yeah.
their defense is great. And I mean honestly, they've got a pretty impressive team.
Yeah, they have a good team to build on too. Like I don't have high hopes. I don't think anyone has big hopes of them going anywhere too deep in the playoffs. I think everyone um, was just dumbfounded that they made it or possibly in the contention to go into the playoffs. That's incredible for that. And but they have a lot to build on now. If they need to surround him with more talent, Trevor Lawrence, and maybe build up that defense a little bit, and they'll be
Mm-hmm.
yeah they'll be competing pretty good. So
Yeah.
you think
Yep.
since the do you think the way the Texans have been playing, they're going to beat the Titans this week?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the actual stat. Yep. Yeah. True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, so you guys talked about your matchup. So I have a couple of sit start things in my league where I had the number one bye and now I'm in the semis. So I can share screen here if you guys want. Let's see if this will. Here we go. This will work here. Okay, let me know if you can see this. Okay, cool. So this is my 12-man league, and we have a short bench, and so you can see my team on the left here. I've got a pretty good stack of running backs: Mahomes, Eckler, Jacobs, and then Evans, Keenan Allen, Goddard, AJ Dillon, Carlson, and I picked up the Tennessee defense against Houston. And so my dilemma is I've got two dilemmas, right? It's Ayuk, right, versus Washington, and then the Dallas defense versus Philadelphia. And those are kind of my
Mm,
two dilemmas. I'm pretty much set on starting Goddard. I think it's a better story than commit, but I want to
yeah.
know from your opinion if you think Tennessee defense versus Houston. I'm thinking Derrick Henry's running the ball, a lot of times being knocked off the clock. Houston's has Davis Mills. I'm thinking there's mistakes going to be made. Maybe it's special team's touchdown or a blocked punt or something. I'm thinking I like Tennessee's defense a little better than Dallas's defense because even though Jalen Hurts is out, the Eagles still have a lot of playmakers. So I'm kind of what your thoughts are. If you would start Tennessee's defense, or you would do Dallas, and also Ayuk versus say like Evans is probably the biggest wild card here.
Mm.
Does it make sense? I'll kind of make this here. Yeah, play Tennessee or Dallas, or do Ayuk instead of Evans, for example.
With Gardner Minshew, I'm playing Dallas.
You think so?
I think so. I don't like how Houston's been playing. Um, they've been playing gritty and tough. I think they're sick of losing, and like all the guys on that team are sick of losing. They're taking more chances. They're I don't know. I, Tennessee's defense is pretty decent too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't think Texans are running up the board on them, but I don't know. Dallas is liable to really make it a long day for Minshew. Um, they have a really good defense. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. Good point. Okay.
Yeah, I,
Interesting. That's good.
I
That's a
got
good
no
point.
problem
I
with
just
that.
it was kind of like you start second guessing yourselves, especially in the semis. You're like, wait, I've got Dallas. I've rolled with them the whole season. They're the number one fantasy defense, right? But yet the matchup is so good with this Houston game that I had to pick them up. You know.
Right, right. As far as the rest of your lineup goes, gotcha. No, I like the rest of your lineup.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys got pretty good matchups. I mean, I think Mahomes is going to go off. Jacobs is probably going to go off. Mike Evans. I mean, yes, that is all I have. Yes.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Evans, I think, is going to do well against Arizona. I think Tom Brady's going to feed him a lot. You just got some good matchups there. So um, some solid players. I don't know that I swap any of them out right now.
Yeah.
Who's your tight end?
Goddard
Yeah, I'd roll Goddard over.
over
Um,
Komet. Yeah. That's who I've got
I
my
think
other
so.
option. Yeah.
Um, and then who's your third wide receiver?
So I've got Evans, Allen, and then I've got AJ Dillon as my flex.
Yeah, I, I man,
Then AJ
I
Dillon's
think
been
I'm
scoring tons of points, like
I think I'm
last.
taking AJ Dillon
Yeah,
over like Ayuk. Yeah,
yeah. And then I've got like the handcuffs to Jacobs and Eckler, and then Ayuk is my receiver. But like Purdy has been throwing him the ball, which we talked about that a little bit earlier in the podcast here. But Ayuk, since Purdy took over, I mean, he had that one long touchdown pass versus the Bucks, where I think you look at the stats here, but like he had that one, yeah, the Tampa Bay game right here, where he had that one long touchdown pass, right? But like Seattle, I mean, you can see here, targeted 4 times, caught the ball 2 times, 19 total yards. That's just not a lot, you know. And
no,
the Tampa Bay game, he had 3 targets, 2 receptions, and one of those was like a falling back in the end zone. They were up by 40, 35 to whatever the score was, and then he caught the ball and kind of like backed into the end zone and caught it. And not saying
right,
he's not a good player, but it was kind of like a trash play moment rather than like part of the offense. And so since Purdy took over, I mean, he's had what? Look at that, seven targets. I guess he took over in the Miami game too. But like overall, just the fantasy points have just not been there.
Right, right. I agree.
Yeah. But cool. Okay, well that's all I had. I just was kind of making sure I was on the same page because I think that's kind of what I'm going with. You know, I think I like that matchup and it served me well. But again, we have a short bench in this league, so you kind of have to play your you have to play your team. You can't don't have a lot of
Right.
options to hold on to stuff.
With that, I'm gonna have to get up. I'm gonna have to get off, boys.
Okay, no worries. All right,
Good
see
luck.
you, Jake.
Good luck, Jeff. We'll see you this weekend. If you're not busy, you should come over. All right, we'll see you.
All right, see you, dude.
Bye, Grant.
Bye. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that's I think too. And also his snap percentage is still really high and stuff. So yeah, I agree. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Do you have any other leagues that you need help with sit starts in? Are you feeling pretty good? Okay. Ah, yeah, that stinks. Mm. Jeez. Yeah, week 11 or 12, you were rolling. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, no, it's part of it. It's interesting too, like, and we'll talk. We'll have kind of like a post. I'm sure we'll have like a post fantasy season recap and some stuff. But I've noticed that I'm going through the fantasy season this season. I'm noticing that there's a few like deficiencies in like my ability to recognize players. Like example, ETN, prime example, where and not that I didn't see that, but I was like, well, there's no way that James Robinson, he came on as a rookie, he did so well. Like Etienne's gonna sit there and kind of be like a Pollard type of figure, but Pollard before this year, right, where he kind of came in when Zeke was hurt, and I'm really bad at like evaluating talent that can overtake the starters. I'm really bad about that. I like to pick with people who are steady, like the Josh Jacobs, the Derrick Henrys, the steady people who are like wide receiver one, running back one on their team by far. And I have a hard time with that gray area where it's like, okay, ETN, he's a rookie, he has promise, he's from Clemson, he's a really good player, but do I draft him with like my 10th pick or 11th pick or something or earlier? Um, and we can talk about that during like a post season wrap up, but that's something I'm noticing that I need to work on more is finding guys like that. Cause you saw my sleeper team and then also this team, with the exception of Pollard, for the most part, I drafted people that were like studs that were established in their teams. And it's good. It's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes down to the late season dynamics that happen with teams and injuries and things, you want to have some of those rising stars in your team that can take over. Hmm. Mhm. Mhm. Mm-mm. No. Mhm. Mm. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be good. So we'll have to see. I'm in three leagues this year. I was in four last year, but I'm in three this year with our dynasty league. I'm in the semis for that league, and then semis in this in my two sleeper leagues, and then the ESP, and then our league I'm out, or I'm in the consolation bracket. So probably, I mean, we'll see. I'm projected to beat Gary. I think is who I'm gonna beat. So I might end up in fifth place, which is not the worst thing in a 10-person league, but you know it is what it is. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but that's something too. Like we need to. Well, let's talk about some suggestions too. Like I've got a couple for this league, and maybe who knows. I also want to get this league on sleeper. Ideally, be great. Yeah, it's a better platform. ESPN is just not. Yeah, yeah. I like it all consolidated. Yeah, yeah, yeah.